the universe. I have a question about it for you. Has anyone in the room found a planet outside the solar system? Please raise your hands. Me neither, yet. But if you go to the webpage planethunters.org, you can look for planets from home. NASA's Kepler's mission is generating millions of signals, and we don't have enough astronomers to look at them. So here, online volunteers go, check the pattern, and if they find a discontinuity, that means that maybe there is a planet out there. So far, they have analyzed 13 million potential planets, and they have found more than 30 planets. Probably one is like Earth. On Earth, we have life, and critical to life is DNA, which is like the instructions manual of life. With the DNA, you produce proteins, which are three-dimensional structures. And turns out that looking how proteins fold is one of the most important problems in biology. In the online game Fold It, which is like a three-dimensional Tetris, players fold proteins looking for stable structures. Last year, 30,000 folded players made it 15 days what biologists couldn't have done in 15 years. In fact, one of the best protein folders of the world is not a scientist, it's neither a supercomputer. It's Caroline, a British nurse that after job goes home and folds proteins. Looks like to continue the presentation and prove that I'm a human and not a robot, I have to type a couple of words here. So let's see. Purple, 2.5. OK, perfect. What I have just done, and you all do every day, is not just checking that we are humans. In fact, we are helping to digitize old books from libraries all around the world. So we can find planets, we can fold proteins, we can digitize all books. Why not making the crowd help fight malaria? We've already heard about malaria. 200 million cases and 1 million deaths per year. It's transmitted by a mosquito that bites you and puts a parasite into the bloodstream. We have seen there are very cool researchers like Kike that are working, trying to find the vaccine. But we will have still to wait 5 or 10 years. In the meantime, the World Health Organization recognized the optical microscopy as the gold standard to diagnose malaria. That means you take a blood sample, you put a dye, you put it under the microscope, you check whether there are parasites or not, and then you count the number of parasites. The more parasites, the more severe is the disease. And this takes about 20 minutes for a specialist. So I ask myself, OK, maybe I do believe that people, normal people, can be trained to count these parasites, to analyze these kind of images. To test the idea, some months ago, I launched the Malaria Spot game, put it online. Here, it's very simple. Instead of shooting aliens from one of the 34 planets, you have to kill parasites, to shoot parasites, in real digitized blood smears. In a couple of months, more than 10,000 players for more than 100 countries generate a database of almost 500,000 clicks. I know you ask, but this work or not? I mean, I will never trust the diagnosis of someone that is not a medical specialist. Here, the key is this redundancy. I mean, if I give the image, the same image to 10 people, and I agree that here is a parasite, probably there will be a parasite. We made a statistical analysis on all this data, and we found that 13 people trained for 1 minute, you combine their information, you have a perfect parasite counting, as good as an expert microscopist. So now, you can think, OK, I can make a black box, which in fact is a mobile phone, turn it into a microscope. People put the finger, take the blood, we send the blood, the sample, the image, to the internet. People play. Artificial intelligence combines all these games from different people and gives back the answer. So a red light or a green light. If the light is red, go to the doctor. You also can ask, but Do people play enough to do these things? If we were the application number 1,000 in terms of numbers of users in Facebook, which is like the Oroz or something like that, we will be able to diagnose 1,000 cases per day. Overall, humanity plays 3 billion hours per week video games. That means that with 1%, we diagnose all the malaria cases of the world. And why just malaria? We can think, in fact, about other biomedical images with massive production and not enough specialists to check at it. For instance, pap smears for cervical cancer screening, or sputum smears for tuberculosis screening. And, I mean, maybe we are really going to train real specialists on that. I'm sure that people will pay Caroline to fold proteins, so maybe we will be able to pay people for doing this diagnosis. It's like creating the telediagnoser job, especially now that children are digital natives. They play with iPads, with computers. They are used to play in digital worlds that are much more complex than the actual biomedical images. Even if we do it now, we have more than 5 million unemployed people in Spain. If they were to work part-time, we will be able also to diagnose all the malaria cases in the world. We can say, this is utopic. No. This organization, which is called Samasurs, is already providing dignified digital jobs to women and youth in Africa. So the opportunity is global, to diagnose and to diagnose. Before saying goodbye, I would like to show you something. Here in the screen, on the right, you see big spots. They are white blood cells, leukocytes. They are good. On the left, there are small purple dots. They are malaria parasites. Shoot them.